Alien is a movie franchise that has been around since 1979. And in that time, there have been 2 good movies, and then a bunch of garbage so awful you start to think, maybe this doesn't seem so bad. The last good Alien movie, Aliens, came out in 1986. That's 38 years ago. All hope was lost until one day, the skies opened up, and down from the heavens descended alien Romulus. And it does the impossible. It finally managed to break the curse that has plagued the Alien franchise for 38 long years. They finally made a good Alien movie. But how does alien Romulus achieve such a feat? Well, in order to answer that question, we're gonna have to look back at Alien 1 and 2 and directly compare it to Alien Romulus. And as your resident guy that has watched Alien and Aliens a grand total of 2 times, once when I was 10 years old, and once 2 days ago, I am clearly the most qualified to speak on this subject. Now obviously, it's not super fair to make a head-to-head comparison of a modern movie to another movie that is literally 45 years old.
But I'm gonna do it anyway.
Spoiler warning for Alien and Alien Romulus, by the way. So the first thing that jumped out at me was just how identical the story beats are in all the Aliens movies. I'll tell you what I mean. In Alien 1, you have a crew of 7 people that get a distress call from some unknown location. Some of the crew are hesitant to go, but are convinced to come with a "come on." When they arrive, everything is creepy as hell and someone gets a face hugger on them. They try to get it off, it doesn't work, and the next thing you know, you've got a chest burster.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal.
Then a Xenomorph is killing everyone one by one until there's only 1 or 2 people left. They manage to evacuate the area, blow up the space station, and get away safely. The movie is about to end, but oh no! It turns out there's an alien that snuck on board, and there's one more fight before the credits roll. Ripley deals with the threat, the day is saved, and Ripley cryos herself to sleep. Moving on to Aliens, there's a crew of about 20 people. They get a distress call to the planet from the first movie, and Ripley doesn't want to go, but gets convinced to come with a "come on." When they arrive there, everything is creepy as hell, and the next thing you know, you've got a chest burster.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
Then multiple Xenomorphs are killing everyone one by one until there's only 1 or 2 people left. They manage to evacuate the area, blow up the space station, and get away safely. The movie's about to end, but oh no! Turns out the alien queen snuck on board and there's one more fight before the credits roll. Ripley deals with the threat.
Get away from her, you bitch!
The day is saved and Ripley cryos herself to sleep. Fast forward to today and we finally arrive at Alien Romulus. There's a crew of about 6 people. They get the idea to steal some cryo sleep tubes from an abandoned space station and the main character doesn't want to go. But she gets convinced to come with a "come on." Do you see where I'm going with this? It plays out the exact same way. Facehugger, chestburster, hello my baby, hello my honey, Xenomorph, everyone dies, get on the escape ship, space station blows up, movie's about to end. Oh no, something snuck on board for a final battle. They kill it once and for all and the main character cryos herself to sleep. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's a pretty common phrase, right? It applies to all kinds of things, but it especially applies to storytelling. If you had a really successful movie, then in the sequel, people want to see more of that thing. And that means telling another story that feels a lot like the first one. And that leads to this sort of cookie-cutter template for all the Alien movies. Alien Romulus is good, and it was marketed as a return to form for the series, but they were not kidding about that. The reason it's good is because this movie is literally just Alien 1 again with some aliens sprinkled in for good measure. Similar to how everyone loved Star Wars Episode 7 when that came out because it was literally just Episode 4 again. And also Trader Guy. Not to say that it's a bad thing, it's executed pretty well, it's just the same movie again. Okay, what about the alien, the main star of the show? How does each movie choose to handle the Xenomorph? Well, for Alien 1, they really took the phrase "less is more" and ran with it. I'm not being cute either. This dude is literally on screen for 3.5 minutes in a 2-hour movie. You barely see the alien for most of the movie. And while some film snob is going to be like, well, you see, this was actually a brilliant artistic choice because the filmmakers realized it's scarier if you don't see the monster in a monster movie. Adjusts glasses, fixes pocket protector, shits pants. In reality, it's more likely because if the audience saw the alien for more than a few seconds, they would realize how goofy looking this thing actually is. Look at this dude. Does this look scary to you? He's just a little guy. So yeah, for the vast majority of this movie, whenever the alien shows up, it's usually an ultra close-up shot. He flashes on screen for a few seconds and is gone just as quickly. Sometimes too quickly. For example, this was supposed to be a kill, but when it happens, it's so fast, I wasn't even sure what the alien did to kill him. I'm poking fun and I'm being nitpicky, but I understand that the reason they had to do it this way is because of the limitations at the time. There was no such thing as CG, everything had to be practical effects. There were no blueprints of sci-fi horror to build off of. In 1979, they had nothing to work with. The only thing they had going for them were cheap houses and a cigarette addiction. Still though, it's impressive that they were able to make the alien so scary with what little time they had with him. The fear of the unknown can be a really powerful tool. Alien Romulus decides to go for an in-between of Alien 1 and Aliens, where a large part of the movie is claustrophobic and horror flavored like Alien 1, but there are intense chase scenes and actiony moments like in Aliens. They also have the benefit of modern movie magic, so you can have far more convincing looking aliens on screen for longer than 3.5 minutes. And when they kill people, they really rip them apart. No friendly looking free hugs here. The facehuggers also steal the show in this movie. In Alien 1 and 2, there's usually only 1 or 2 facehuggers trying to attack the characters. But here, you have a whole swarm of them rushing at you and they move fast. Just seeing that visual and imagining yourself in that situation is terrifying to even think about. To me, Alien Romulus is much better at invoking the feeling of, nope, get me out of here, or thanks, I hate it. The heebie-jeebies, if you will. Again, I know it's not super fair to compare how much better aliens appear in a modern movie versus a puppet and a guy in a rubber suit from 1979. But maybe they should have thought of that before they made housing unaffordable. Okay, now let's talk about the vibe of these movies, the je ne sais quoi, if you will. The first Alien movie is really good at building a sense of dread. Almost the entire movie takes place on the ship, which is cramped, dark, and isolated. It's not such a big deal at first because there is no danger. But once that damn Xenomorph is on the loose, all of a sudden those dark, cramped areas are your worst nightmare. Every time someone enters a room, you have no idea if it's the last time they will enter any room, because they'll be dead. Because of the Xenomorph, you get it. Sometimes though, I think Alien 1 takes it a bit too far. I've already mentioned how the Xenomorph is only on screen for 3 minutes, and because the scope of the movie is already so small, there's not a ton happening all the time. There will be super long stretches of time where nothing happens. Like, take this dude's death for example. It starts with him looking for a kitty cat that got lost. He's all by himself in a dark and creepy room. You know something's gonna happen to him. And just when you think something's gonna pop out and grab him, the scene just keeps going and going and going. And then he stands under this area with dripping water and holds on this shot for like an entire minute. It looks like he's finally gonna get it. And then he steps to the side and the scene continues and it's like, come on, do something. I timed it. This entire scene is 4.5 minutes long until finally, what, that's it? It's over already? There's 4.5 minutes of buildup, and when it's finally time to kill this dude, the whole thing is over and done with in less than 10 seconds. And we're already moving on to the next scene. Boo, boo movie. Give me something a little more to work with. Alien is a master at creating tension, but when it's finally time to deliver on that tension, it cuts away before the horror really sets in, leaving the viewer pretty unsatisfied. Watching this movie is basically like edging for 2 hours. Flipping back to Alien Romulus, it definitely tries to emulate the same vibe as the first movie. The same je ne sais quoi. I think the scene that is the closest at matching the first movie's atmosphere is when the characters are trying to get through a room full of facehuggers. It has all the same ingredients to build in tension. Dark cramped space, forced to move slowly, monsters in the area. However, I think where this movie is an improvement over the original is the monsters are fully visible. You see the threat right there. But the movie even takes it a step further than that with an extra layer of discomfort. Before they enter this room, it's explained to them that the facehuggers see through thermal vision. So they raise the temperature of the room to match the human body's 98.6 degrees, effectively making them invisible to the facehuggers. However, they're told that panic, fear, or stress can increase their body temperature, exposing them immediately. And if that wasn't bad enough, if they sweat or get goosebumps, things that decrease their body temperature, that will also expose them instantly. So basically, these characters have to navigate through a room with living landmines where they aren't allowed to do anything other than remain completely calm, or they're dead. That is a terrifying situation to be put in, and for the audience to imagine themselves in. That little extra bit of context before entering the room raised the stakes immensely and effectively. Mad props to Alien Romulus. In space, no one can hear you scream. That was the tagline for the original movie, right? Space is dead quiet, and so is this movie. There's hardly any noise or music or loud bombastic action scenes that break up the silence every once in a while. The first Alien movie really commits to the setting and atmosphere it was trying to create. In fact, one of the main sounds you hear throughout the whole movie is just the sound of a heartbeat, constantly, just in the background. It's meant to evoke the feeling of holding your breath and listening for a monster you can't see, with your heartbeat being the only sound you make. It's really effective at selling that aspect of subtle horror. In Alien Romulus, it takes the exact opposite approach with its sound design. This movie is loud. For like the first hour of this movie, there was just constant noise, hustling and bustling city streets, machine sounds, the roaring of ship engines, and people talking over each other. There is so much noise, I couldn't even understand what the main characters were even saying half the time. It doesn't help that they have the thickest accents I've ever heard.
Oh, there's just something in the fucking water.
There's something in the fucking water. There's a much bigger reliance on jump scares too. This is just a symptom of modern horror movies. Keep it somewhat quiet, get the audience to really come in close, and then blah, jump scare. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this video, be sure to smash that like button. Now, some people will see the phrase jump scare as a dirty word when it comes to horror. They'll turn up their nose and say, well, that's not real horror. Real horror wouldn't rely on such cheap tactics, adjust glasses, fixes pocket protector, shits pants. And I don't really get it. The reason building up tension and an impending sense of dread is so effective is because the jump scare is coming. You can't just have all build up and no payoff, because then you just be Game of Thrones. Heyo! Take a game like Five Nights at Freddy's. I know, I posted cringe, I'm going to lose subscriber. But seriously, that first game is absolutely terrifying. Why? Because you spend the entire game seated in one spot with nothing to do but constantly check security cameras. The tension and dread build because you know the animatronics are coming for you. You are focused, all in the zone, and then all of a sudden, and now you need to change your pants. I will say the jump scare definitely starts to become less and less effective every time you see it until it becomes more annoying than scary. But those first few times, oh man, pure horror.
Oh, the sounds, I don't like them. Ah, fuck! No! Oh, yeah! Fucking fuck! I tried to push it!
The point I'm trying to make here is that you can have all the dread, tension, and build up in the world, but if it never actually pays off into an actual scare, then you're just edging, and that's a sin.
And you're going to hell.
That being said, for Alien Romulus, I will say that most of the jump scares didn't scare me at all, but there was one towards the very end of the movie that got me really, really good. So the first movie is better at being scary from what you can't see, but Alien Romulus is better at being scary from what you can see on screen. I just want to reiterate one last time that I understand it's not exactly fair to say that a movie from today is doing something better than a movie from 45 years ago. The expectation is that it should be better. But so often with the Alien franchise, it drops the ball with awful movie after awful movie. This was the first time they managed to nail it, and while it's not perfect, it does evoke the same feelings of horror, and it showcases it in an effective way. I do think Alien Romulus is good, and more than that, I think it's scarier than the original. Not because it just looks better, but because it's able to add to the foundations that made the original so great in the first place. And if you disagree with me, well then hang on, I got a little something for you. It's called jump scare.
Have a rotten day.